The hard part isn't me talking for 10 minutes, it's me limiting my talk to 10 minutes, so throw something at me if I exceed the 10 minutes. My name is David Barron. I am owner, operator, sole proprietor of Eastern Oregon Hypnosis. I've been doing hypnosis since April of 1998, so that's going to be 19 years coming up here very soon. A good portion of my time I had spent on the East Coast. I started a business there called New Hampshire Hypnosis, and in fact it's still operating, and I'm doing a lot of my clients still in New Hampshire without me having to travel, thanks to teleconferencing services. So I have my office there, and we set it up and deal with the clients. A lot of the people that come to me, I like to say, they all have the same problem. On the one hand, they want to make a change, but on the other hand, there's something else that's holding them back. So we've got these people who want to stop smoking, but on the other hand, there's this part that really wants a cigarette. You have these people who want to feel comfortable speaking in front of a group, but this other part says, no, you need to cower in fear. And this part, I like to remind people, is not broken. It's doing its job. It just has a set of instructions, totally outdated, needed an update, and need for a change. And really that's what my job is to sort of give a better set of instructions to this part of the mind, the subconscious mind. One of the things I was excited about talking about today is something that's relatively new, which is I sort of made a modification to how I deal with my clients. For the longest time, I've been able to get some pretty dramatic results in the course of a session. And the fellow who mentored me, that's really all he did. You have a problem, great, we fix it. And you send you on your way, and if there's any change that needs to take place, come on back, we'll help you. And that worked relatively well for me. What I've decided is that what that doesn't do is allow me for good reinforcement and good follow-up so that I can make sure the changes take place. So I made some modifications to how I work with people, which I'm really impressed by the results. One of them, well, first I changed it to 3 sessions that I sort of have people commit to. The very first session is really the one where the change takes place. I don't let them know that. I just say, we're going to make some major changes. Most people will notice something at the very beginning or dramatic at the end of the session, and it's really going to be the second session where I change you into the person that's the non-smoker or whatever. But most people at the end of the session, if they're smoking, they can't bring up a craving for a cigarette. If they have an anxiety issue, they notice they can't bring it up. If they have phobia, they're not afraid of it. So most of that happens the very first session. And usually giving them a week to sort of try that on and walk it out is generally enough to get some feedback on it. I do totally understand how complicated life can be, and that sometimes you get tax bills you didn't anticipate. Sometimes you get an argument with somebody that's really close to you, and you can resort back to old behaviors like smoking or eating and things like that. Now that usually doesn't happen within that first week, but if it does, it's not a big deal. I just deal with it. It's the second session that I really we sort of narrow down the type of person you want to be. So I have a lot of elicitation questions the first and second session. Questions like, who are the people you admire? What do you admire about them? If you could give something, a quality, a value, advice to a younger version of yourself, what would it be? What would be the strengths that you want to have in yourself? So I ask these type of questions through the first session and the beginning of the second session. So I get a really clear understanding of how they envision an ideal self, their ideal person. And with their success from the first session, I compound that by bringing in all of those qualities so they start to feel them and imagine and be able to see what it's like to be a different person. I mean, the interesting part about this, the sort of things that can freak people out, is what we're talking about is an alternate personality, but one they're not familiar with. So, I'm not making Manchurian candidates, okay? That's not what I'm doing. I'm giving them a better version of themselves to look through and to sort of move through the world. That has gotten incredible results. If they identify a specific person that has these qualities in their life, someone they deeply value, often if it's a family member who had a dramatic effect on their life, we talk about that person and bring the qualities of that person into their life so they can sort of live with those qualities. And it can be incredibly emotional. Once that's just a huge reinforcement after the first change that they made. And I send them on their way. So they now have a third session. Now, during all of this, they're listening to reinforcement audios. They're creating a place in their mind I call sanctuary, which they're in control, they're safe, they can go there. The whole world melts away. When they return, they're refreshed, they're renewed. And they're doing this daily, on a daily basis, if they follow my instructions. Okay. And it's reinforcing all of the changes we're making. On the third session, I treat it a lot like a follow-up, just make sure things are going well. And again, I've been impressed dramatically by what I'm doing. In the third session, I create what I call a motivational imperative, which is a single motivation for their life. As a general rule, it's going to be health, it's going to be balance, it's going to be well-being. So, combining those two together and then making that sort of the filter they make decisions through. If I make this decision, is it going to benefit my health, my well-being, and my sense of balance? So imagine your lives. If every choice you made was made through that filter, would your life be a little bit better? Yes? Yes? Okay. Now imagine that happening automatically, where you don't have to think ask that question, it just happens automatically. So once they have this motivational imperative, I send them on the way, I give them a call in a week or so, and everyone that I work with has an opportunity to come back for whatever it is they need to, without being charged. So, but it's up to them to call me. I will, for those 3 sessions, I'm responsible, I have my hand on their leash and bring it back and reinforce this stuff with them. Again, it's the results I've been seeing are amazing, and what's more amazing for me is that I'm seeing it, doing it remotely, just through a teleconferencing screen when I'm working with my clients in New Hampshire. So again, think of the people as far as changes that want to be made. Think of the people who say, "I wish I could," or something's holding me back. Those are the types of people I like to work with. And the people who specifically want to change something about themselves, they know they should be able to, but for whatever reason, they can't. I'm open to questions. I've been doing this a while, so get the weird questions out of the way right off.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
What do you do with somebody that they want to have help, but yet they don't believe in what you do?
I'll just talk with them. What I'll do is they say, I think this is BS, so that's fine. Let's just see what happens. The only thing you have to do during this process is follow instructions. That's it. The end result is what happens when we're done. You tell me if you noticed it. okay? That's how I measure it. That's how you should measure it too. So if they, if they have a smoking habit and they don't believe hypnosis is going to help, I say, well, that's fine. I just need you to follow instructions, be objective at the end, tell me what you notice. And it works. You don't have to believe in it, you just have to follow instructions.
I'd like to say I have been to David, and I went for one session, and I was really kind of skeptical too. I didn't know
Okay.
when I went if you could really help me, but absolutely, and Daryl can attest to this, it has made a huge difference, and you did fix the
Thank you.
issue.
Well, you followed my instructions.
So I know it works.
Yeah. I mean, for people who are really questioning it, I'm open to answer questions. You can come in as skeptical as you need to. And end result is you really have what you measure the success by. So that's how I do it. Any other questions?
What percentage do you do as far as like bigger things versus just like people making little adjustments and tweaks?
Yeah. Typically, any person who has a hypnosis business is going to deal mostly with smoking and weight loss. And for a long time, that's been what I've dealt with a lot of other things from nail biting to anxiety and stuff like that. Interestingly, though, what I seem to be dealing with most is anxiety. Just people who, it could be situational anxiety, when I'm in front of people or in a group, I clam up. Or it could be just general overall anxiety. What I like to remind people is that anxiety is a learned response. It's there for a very good reason, but it's in a situation now that you don't need it. So we just, very quickly, we just sort of rehearse the state that you want mentally, bringing that state up. Usually it's a state of peace of mind or whatever you might imagine. Bringing that up, and then once you feel that, rehearsing it in the situations where you would normally be, have that anxiety. And, of course you're safe because you're doing it all mentally. And do it enough times, you can't get that anxiety back. Cool. Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. It's been my pleasure. And you can have my flyers, my website as well.
Shelley, are you planning on next time?
Yes, I brought my laptop to see if it'll hook up to that, so.
Okay, good. Thanks.